Hi, my name is Lori Lumbie, and welcome to the Authentic Freedom Ministries virtual church. I'm the pastor and spiritual director of this online virtual community, and I welcome you to this service. Today we are celebrating the fifth Sunday of Lent. Lent is traditionally thought of as a time of preparation, but more specifically, Lent is an opportunity to be open to God's healing. During Lent, we pause and we reflect on the areas in our lives that are in need of healing. The compulsive behaviors that are obstacles to living the life of joy and peace that God intended, and the interferes that create those outward behaviors. For today's session, I'm going to differ from the path a little bit, and instead of reading the scripture and offering a reflection, I'm going to guide you in a guided meditation, lead you in a guided meditation that will help you to identify and get in touch with some of the fears and the compulsions that might be in need of God's healing, and to give you an opportunity to draw awareness and intention to those places that are in need of healing so that they can be freed and released. So in order to participate in this process, you'll need a little bit of time. I would invite you to set aside about an hour sometime in the next few days that you can enter into the guided meditation without interruption. Turn off your phones, turn off the TV, place yourself in a quiet room. And if you want to sit or lie down, find a comfortable position where you can really allow yourself to enter into the meditation. And while you are allowing yourself to be present to the meditation, to keep your eyes closed so that you can really just be attentive to the sounds and the words that I offer that will guide you through this process. So before you begin that meditation, you might want to spend some time with Sunday Scripture, which is the story of Jesus raising Lazarus from the dead, and that is from John's Gospel, chapter 11. I'm not going to read that here, so I invite you to read that on your own, and then to enter into the meditation. So before we begin the guided meditation, I just want to take this opportunity to say that if you find this process to be meaningful and supportive of your own journey of healing, self-discovery, and freedom, please consider making a financial donation to Authentic Freedom Ministries. We are grateful for your support, and more importantly, we're grateful for your participation in this virtual community. So thank you, and I invite you to, at this time, pause this video and find a place that is quiet where you can sit uninterrupted for about a half hour to an hour and allow yourself to be present to the meditation. So now that you have found yourself in a quiet and uninterrupted space, I invite you to close your eyes so that you can enter fully into this guided meditation. And I will also be closing my eyes so that I can receive the words that you will need for healing and release. As you allow yourself to enter into this guided meditation, I invite you to begin by drawing your attention and your awareness to your breath. To be fully conscious of each breath as you draw it in and as you give it release. Being aware of the movement of your body and the flow of energy as your breath enters in and exits. As you maintain your attention on your breath, I also invite you to become aware of the sensations of your physical body. to feel the sensation of the chair or couch that you're sitting on, or the floor that you might be reclined upon. To be conscious of the physical sensation of your body touching the chair or the floor. To feel that connection. As you maintain that awareness to your breath and the physical sensation of your body, be conscious and aware that you are beginning to find a more peaceful and relaxed state within your body and within your mind. And in this guided meditation, I will be leading you through the chakras, the energy centers, the major energy centers of the body, and utilizing the authentic freedom principles for healing and release. So with that, we will begin. So I invite you first to draw your awareness to the base of your spine, to the energy center that resides there, the root chakra. Be aware of the energetic color of the root chakra, which is a deep red or an earthy brown. And be aware of this energy center as related to the element of earth. And with that awareness, be conscious of your connection with Mother Earth. Being conscious of all the ways in which the earth provides for your physical survival. Providing food, resources for clothing and shelter, protection and safety. Be conscious of your connection with the earth as roots of a tree reaching deep into the earth, allowing yourself to receive all that you need in abundance. Being conscious of the abundant nature of the earth, and that there is more than enough to feed, clothe, and house every person on this planet. And that specifically there's more than enough to feed, clothe, house, and protect you. Allow yourself to feel the contentment that goes with that awareness. And rest for a moment in that trusting nature that all your needs are being met. As you allow yourself to connect with that contentment, you begin to become aware of the places in your life where you are afraid that your needs are not being met. Where maybe you are afraid that there's not enough. And you allow yourself to be present to the litany of all the areas where you are afraid there is not enough. Not enough time, not enough money, not enough possessions, not enough love, not enough safety, not enough connections. Allow yourself for a moment to rest connection with those fears, being aware of behaviors that might arise out of that place of fear. As you connect with that fear that there is not enough, I invite you to be conscious that there is a divine source that seeks to give healing and release to those fears as you are willing to let them go. So in the silence of your mind and your heart, I invite you to offer these fears to the God of your understanding. Inviting God to heal and transform and give release to those fears so that you can rest again in the contentment of knowing that all of your needs are abundantly met. And as you allow the God of your understanding to bring healing and transformation to those fears, I invite you to become aware of the energy that is currently centered at the root chakra, to become aware of that energy moving up to rest in the center of your belly. The energy center of creativity, of procreation and co-creation. This is the sacral chakra, and the energy resonates as a brilliant orange. It is the energy center where our creativity lies and our drive to create. Specifically, our drive to bring forth life that will persist. Physical life in the form of children, and creative life in the form of the uniquely creative way in which we have been gifted to reveal God's love, God's beauty, and God's wonder in the world. It is the energy center that governs not only our survival, but our ability to thrive, to find enjoyment and fulfillment in the human experience. And this is the energy center that is related to the element of water, the element that invites us to feel comfort, to experience healing and cleansing, and the energy center the element that invites us to be carried, invites us to float along the path that God knows is in our highest good, without resistance or struggle, knowing that we are carried on the waters of the divine to the place of our highest good. As we allow ourselves to rest for a moment in the awareness that we are uniquely gifted to find meaning, purpose, and fulfillment in our lives, and that we are being carried to that destination. As we allow ourselves to rest for a moment in that truth, we begin to become conscious of the fears arising that are in conflict with that truth. Fears that suggest that we will not be able to bring forth life that will persist, that we are not uniquely gifted. In fact, we might be insignificant, that we don't deserve a life of meaning and purpose, or that we are in a life situation where we don't have the ability for our needs to be met. I invite you to pause for a moment to allow those fears to come into your awareness. As those fears begin to present themselves to you, you are invited to remember again that there is a divine source that seeks only for your highest good, that drives you towards meaning and purpose and fulfillment. And that this divine source is there to bring healing and release to those areas of fear and constriction. And I invite you to pause for a moment and in your own words, in the silence of your heart, to ask that divine source of your understanding to bring healing and release to those fears. As you allow those fears to be healed and transformed, you become aware of a newfound sense of expansiveness and freedom within your being. And you are conscious of the energy that is currently residing in the center of your belly. You are aware of that energy moving to rest at the solar plexus, which is the hollow space just between the bottom of your ribs and above your navel. The energy center that is related to the element of fire and radiates a brilliant golden yellow hue. This is the energy center of personal will and empowerment. It is the energy center of courage and motivation. It is the energy center that gives you the fire and the movement and the energy you need to live the life that God intended for you. It is the energy center that is confident in the awareness that you can be the person that God made you to be. Free, authentic, fulfilled, enjoying a life of meaning and purpose. This is the energy center that is related to assimilation and transformation. It's the center through which you take in what is life-giving and give release to that which is no longer life-giving. It is the energy center that houses your anger, your rage, your impatience, your frustration. And the anger, impatience, and rage and frustration specifically that arises when you feel blocked or hindered in your life path. I invite you to pause for a moment, bringing to mind all the areas in your life where you feel like you can't be the person God made you to be, where you feel obstructed or hindered in your forward movement, where you feel as if there are obstacles to being who you want to be. And as you draw to your mind that fear that you can't be the person God made you to be, I invite you again to invite the God of your understanding to go into those places of fear, to ferret those out, to transform that fear into courage and empowerment, to release any inner paralysis and replace it with courageous motivation. Allow the fire within yourself to transform you, to gather in what is life-giving, and to purge and release that which is not life-giving. Unhealthy behaviors, unhealthy thought patterns, self-destructive thoughts or behaviors, harmful expressions of anger, frustration, impatience, rage. Allow the fire of the divine that resides within you to gather up what is life-giving and to release what is not. As you begin to feel the empowerment of that transformation, I invite you to become aware of the energy that resides in the center, in the solar plexus, that vibrant yellow hue. Imagine that energy as it begins to move up into your heart space. The heart space, which is related to the element of air and breath, that governs our respiration and our circulation, that radiates a brilliant green or bright fuchsia, or a combination of both. And the heart is the center of love and compassion, of mercy and joy. And as the heart center, it is in the heart center where we remember that we are loved without condition. And even more than that, that we are the very nature of love itself. That in being made the sons and daughters of God, that we are made of God's love, that we are love. That love is our original nature, and love is who we are called to be in the world. To be a vessel through which God's love is known in every encounter, in every circumstance, in every situation. We are that love. And yet we are so mindful of all the places where we have forgotten that love, where we have forgotten that we are God's love in the world, and that we are loved with magnificence and wonder. And we are aware of all the places in our lives where we have been told that we are not love, where we have been loved with condition, where love had to be earned or seemed to be taken away. And we are aware of the pain and the sorrow that comes along with those rejections, where we are deprived of love, where we are treated in ways that are non-loving. We are aware of the grief that we carry in our heart, and we are aware of the sense of betrayal. When love has been used as a commodity or used against us. And I invite you to pause for a moment to feel the pain of that loss, to be conscious of the areas where you've been hurt, where you have been treated in non-loving ways, where you have forgotten that you are love itself. And as you pause in that place of pain, I invite you again to remember the divine source, the God of your understanding that is love itself. And I invite you to ask God to go into those places of pain, of darkness, of sorrow, and to give you comfort, to give you healing and release, to open up the love that is already there within you, that it might surround those areas of pain and give them healing, so that you can remember more fully the love that you are. And as you begin to feel more fully the love that is within you, the love that you are, I invite you to become aware of the energy that currently resides in the center of your heart as it moves up to rest in the center of your throat. The energy center, the throat chakra, that is related to the element of sound. And the energy center that governs our ability to take time to listen, to be open to hearing, and giving expression to our truth. It is the energy center that knows that it is our truth that will set us free. Knowing and living and giving expression and voice to our truth gives us the meaning and fulfillment and freedom that we seek. And the color that resonates in this energy center is a vibrant turquoise or bright blue. And as you connect with that energy center, you are immediately aware of the places in your life where you feel as if you are not free to give voice to your truth, where you refrain from naming and claiming your needs, where you do not give voice to the truth that seeks to be known within you, where you withhold your truth or your gifts out of fear of being rejected, criticized, or condemned. And as you become aware of those fears, you are also aware of the places where you hold that fear. Tightness in your throat, constriction in your neck, pain in your shoulders. As you connect with that area of resistance or fear of expressing your truth, I invite you to become aware again, to remember that there is a divine source that seeks to free you of those fears and those constrictions. And I invite you to ask God to go into those places of fear within your throat chakra and to give them healing and release. As healing comes into the energy center at your throat, you begin to feel a relaxation and openness, a feeling of liberation and freedom, excitement and joy. And as that energy center becomes unencumbered and you feel more free to express your truth, you become aware of the energy within you rising to rest in the center of your forehead, the brow chakra or third eye, the energy center related to the element of thought and inspiration, resonating a deep indigo blue. It is the energy center that governs learning, understanding, knowledge. It is the energy center that drives our intuition, our dreams, our daydreams, our creative imagination. It is the energy center that governs our physical as well as our spiritual vision or sight. And it is the energy center through which we come to know our truth, come to know our path. It is through attention to our dreams, our intuition, mindfulness, learning, wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, intuitive insights. It is through our attention to this and to mindfulness practices that quiet the clutter in our mind so that we may hear God's truth. It is through this energy that we come to know the path of our highest good as it is revealed to us by God. And it is through the process of discernment where we have an opportunity to distinguish the voice of the ego or the false self versus God's voice. And we are aware of all the obstacles in our mind that prevent us from hearing God's truth and knowing God's truth. Our disbelief, confusion, a restless and anxious mind, obsessive thoughts, compulsive planning, doubt, and as we begin to draw to mind those obstacles, we are aware of a physical sensation of constriction in our mind, as our mind clenches and grasps onto our fears, our confusion, the place within us that says, I do not know my truth, and I don't have access to that truth. And I invite you again to allow the God of your understanding to go into those places of constriction and darkness, fear, confusion, doubt, and to bring healing and release. To bring healing and release so that your mind can be open and free, quiet and calm, and receptive. Receptive to the truth that God would reveal as in your highest good. And in connecting with that place of receptivity, you experience clarity, quiet, peace. And as you begin to feel that place of expansiveness and clarity within your mind, you are aware of the energy currently resting in the center of your forehead, moving to rise up to the crown of your head. At the crown of your head, the brilliant indigo turns into a bright violet or purple, the color related to our connection with God. And the element here is bliss, is oneness. It is through the crown chakra that we remember our intimate connection with God, where we know that we are one with God, that in our oneness with God, we are one within ourselves, we are one with each other, and one with all of creation. When we remember that place of oneness, when we are open in our connection with God, we know peace. We know contentment, and we can rest in the bliss and ecstasy of our oneness with God. And we are aware as we begin that connection with God of all the places in our lives where we have forgotten that state of oneness, where instead of peace, we feel afraid. Instead of contentment, we feel restless. Instead of bliss, we feel conflict. And we are aware that it is ultimately this false perception of separation from God that is the cause of all of our fears. And if we really seek to be whole and complete at peace and experiencing a life of joy, compassion, and love, that all we really need to do is remember our oneness with God, to connect with God, to be open to that connection with God. And so I invite you to ask God to heal you of that fear of separation, to release you from falsely believing that God is separate, apart from, distant, unattainable, and to remember that God is as intimate to you as your own breath, as your own vision, as your own heartbeat, that God lives and dwells within you, among you, and all around you. I invite you to allow God, in whatever way you need to at this point, to heal you of that fear of separation, to move you from anxiety to peace. And as you allow God to facilitate that healing within you, you become aware of that brilliant purple light surrounding you like a blanket, like an aura, like a halo. You become aware of your entire being pulsating with this violet, purple light, the light of God's peace, the light of God's joy, the light of God, God's self. And I invite you to simply rest in that peace. As you have allowed yourself to feel the depths of God's peace, I invite you within the silence of your heart and your mind to give thanks to the divine healer, to give thanks for this process that has allowed you to identify and offer up for healing those fears and compulsions that are keeping you from being the person that God intended you to be. To offer thanks for the fears that have been released, the pains and the sorrows that have been transformed, and for the peace and the love that is taking deeper root within you. And as you offer that prayer of gratitude, I invite you to slowly and gently return to this time and this space to bring this meditation to a close. And as you go forward, to carry that newly rooted peace and love into your day, into your experiences, and to be a vessel through which that peace and love can be known and shared with those that you encounter as you go about your day. Thank you for giving yourself this time for healing, for release. And thank you for participating in this Authentic Freedom Virtual Church healing service. God's peace and God's love to you as you move forward through this week in preparation for Palm Sunday, Holy Week, and Easter. Thank you.